Yo, my talks Thursday number 3. I tried recording this with Monster Rise, and the first part of it corrupted, and the second part, it was all buggy or like laggy. Didn't really work. And I think that's because of how unoptimized I have Monster Rise. I think I need to delete all the files, reinstall them, work on some settings. But you know, I'm gonna try and just play some Slay the Spire. I talked about some things. I don't think it was an interesting video anyways. And so I'm just gonna, speak my mind today. Gonna play Slay the Spire. Now playing this, really hoping everything's working out fine. And, let's just get into a run. Standard. I haven't gotten past Ascension 2 because I'm not good at this game. But the Silent is my favorite character, so let's do a run with her. Yep, another try for me. I kind of like the random rare relic, but that can oftentimes just lead you in the wrong direction. So I'm gonna do a new image for each gun in your head. Okay, cool. Basically, in that video, I was kind of talking about like life when you don't know what you want to do. Like, and I think my friend had a good take. It's like, if you don't know what to do, then why not help people? And I think that's really great because, like, obviously you don't know what you want to do. Helping people? Wow. Like, you're doing something great for the world by just randomly helping people. Now, I'm a much more selfish person. I don't really think I can apply that mentality to myself, because if I didn't want to do anything, I think I would pursue value myself way too highly to help anyone else. And I think I would just I would try and find a way to I would live in pleasure, I think is what I'm saying. And I would just do whatever pleasures me at the time in the non-odd sense. Like, if I want to eat something, I eat. If I want to drink something, I drink it. If I want to do something, I do it. Like, I live just trying to find something and probably never really finding anything. Because I'm just I don't know. Because I've never been put in a situation like that. Because I've kind of always known what I wanted to do. And I've always wanted to be a YouTuber. And I don't think that's ever going to change. So I have that goal I can just keep running towards. And I don't think that's ever going to change, no matter how old I get. I think I'm just going to completely keep focusing on YouTube, no matter if I get big or if I stay small. But, it was kind of interesting. But I think in the previous recording, I kept LARPing on about, I guess not LARPing on, but I just kept yammering about, topics over and over again. And so to kind of, steer away from that point, the next point I brought up was, what do you do if you don't want to, conform to normal values, i.e., starting a family in the future, which I don't want to start a family. I don't want to have kids. And I think that's pretty normal for this generation. And I more sit along the lines of thinking that because I just think they'd be a lot of work. And considering how I am, I don't really want to end up with a kid like me, which says I should probably be a better son, but I'm trying. It's the best I can do. And honestly, I think I'm a little, how do I put it? Pessimistic isn't really the right word. I'm more I probably see myself worse than I actually am. And so due to that, I don't think I'm as bad as I make myself seem, but it was something of a video. I don't think I was that proud of it anyways. I think it was just something I was putting out, which at least now I can kind of now that I've completed that, I think I could just yap about my thoughts a little more. What I want to actually talk about. I think what I want to talk about is just nothing even philosophy based today. I kind of want to talk about anime. What I recently just watched was Gray and Blue Dreaming, the second season. It's at least for me, it's one of my favorite things out right now. I love Gray and Blue Dreaming. I've already read the manga up to where it's currently at, and even so, I don't know what to choose here. I'm just gonna go with Playdance. But I've read the manga up to its completion, and it's so funny. It is so funny. It hits my humor perfectly. I don't know how a show can get me down so well, but it does it, and it does it perfectly. I don't think there's a funnier show out there, just because nothing else is that funny, man, in all honesty. And it's a lot of potty humor, I guess, kind of, but I still think that humor is still so funny, and it has its fair share of good jokes too, which is why I like it. Ooh, grand finale. Piercing Willow's better, but I think it has its good share of funny jokes. But along with the funny jokes also comes you're just okay jokes, which to me still ridiculously funny. And I think even with all those jokes, it has a good romance plot to it, because as you know, I have no experience in romance, but it does feel kind of more natural. This is how I could see something like this actually working out, just minus the comedy bits that obviously wouldn't happen in real life. And I think as much as the show is like a jokey show, it also has such like kind of great moments that kind of just take away from the whole jokiness of it and just like allow me to enjoy it like for what it's like, not trying to. Let me ponder that a little bit. It allows me, like, it showcases itself in a way that just, it's so jokey, but then when it decides to not be jokey, like when they're diving, you get some absolutely beautiful scenes. Like, they're so nice to look at. And they are amazingly nice to look at, and it's what inspired me to eventually, like, I really want to try diving one day. Grand Blue may be like 10% of the reason I want to go to Japan, because now I really want to dive. And I think that's really cool, because they just, what is like meant to be a joke or like a comedy anime has like inspired me to find something really nice, or like has inspired me to find a passion I really like. Like, I've already done a little bit of diving, nothing like too extreme where I could say like, oh, this was amazing, because although it was good, it wasn't really the true diving experience. And it's kind of just made me like really want to try like what it really is. And that's all just from like a jokey comedy show, which I still find insane. Now, like other good things this season, like Gacha Akuda, I don't know if that's last season. I think that's technically last season. It's been going on for a little while, but like that's been good. And like my friend started watching that, so now, you know, I'm rereading it. I usually read more manga than I do watch anime, but now that he's reading it, I picked it back up, and I think it's really good. Oh, I wish I had a lot more money. Okay, and I think, yeah, there's a reason it looks so good. Like, there's a reason people praise it so highly. Obviously, because it is just a good anime. It is just a good anime, and there's nothing really anyone could say to dissuade that. They just made a banger, and I think though it's good, I don't want to say it's like it's normie, because I kind of hate that, but it's, how do I put it? It's like, I've heard so much about it, about how great it is, and like I read the manga when people were first just like, and I started reading the manga when I had 30 chapters, and then I dropped it for like a year or two, and that's when it got the anime announcement, so I went back and reread it all, and the anime came out, and everybody glazed it, and so I think reading it from the beginning kind of made me see like, I feel like it's just it's a good show, but it is also just another shonen. Like, that's what it feels like at the end of the day. And there's nothing wrong with a shonen. Shonens have been some of my favorite anime, but it's like not as good as people praise it for. And like, they praise it to high hell and back. So I think that's been good. I've been liking it. And back to the thing about how I read more manga. I've been reading Galaxias. I think that's how you that's how you say it. And man, that's good. It is good. It is just good and manga. Like, it's been unique. I would say it's unique, but it takes a little while to get to that point where it is phenomenal. But when it gets to that point where it's phenomenal, let me promise you, it is phenomenal. Like, it is just so good. It knows what it wants to do, and I think it didn't when it was first starting out, but once it found out, it's taken it and ran with it. So I promise you, if you're reading a manga and you need something a little new to read, pick up Galaxias. You're not going to regret it, because it is peak. I do restore my HP, so I think I'll probably kill you next turn. Yeah, I'm not good at this game at all. Making decisions like that, I think you're dead. Yeah, so at least I get all my HP back. The cultist really saved me there. Love this card. I love this card. What did I get? That's fine. Oh, okay, that's all cool. But Galaxias has been really good, and I think that's what that I can say confidently. It started off as your average shonen, and it's definitely evolved into more than that. Like, it is so good. It is such a, you gotta give it a read. You gotta give it a read. I promise you. You like shonen, you gotta give it a read, because it starts as your average shonen, and then I feel like it understood that it's not doing anything really new. And so then it threw out like what it wanted to do. And was just kind of like, let me just have fun with this. And now, like, I feel like we're in like an end moment when we're in the beginning. And it's like, well, how do we go from here? But like, they've also been world building phenomenally, that like, even if we feel like we're at like an end tier, trying to think of what I'm trying to say. If end tier boss, villain, I mean antagonist. I guess they're more antagonist than villain. But even if we're there, like, I can still see where we could go. because that's just how good it's been like carrying itself. Or that's how good it's been world building. Like there's still so many mysteries, and it makes sense because like it's in the beginning, but it's done so much of it so well. So I'm really excited to see where it takes it. And like I don't really, maybe in a future thing I'll end up talking about it more in depth, but for right now I do just kind of want to like not spoil anything because it's in the beginning, and I think it's such an easy and just quick read that you can honestly get it, and then just like it's 30 chapters right now. You could pick it up quickly, read it, and that's why I don't want to spoil it, because you can just read it so quickly and easily. And well, what else? I read Girl on the Shore. That was pretty good. Like now that I'm realizing like I can talk about anime and manga and not have to I could do this with games too, but now that I can talk about this stuff without having to feel like I need to like talk about philosophy, I feel like I could talk about so much. Hey, pretty good pickup. I feel like I could talk forever because I read a lot of it. So basically, back to Girl on the Shore. It was made by the same author as Oyasumi Punpun. Now, personally, a lot of my friends like Oyasumi Punpun. I personally call it Oyasumi Mid. I just don't think it's very good, and I think I understand why I don't think it's very good, and that's because while they have lived more of a life that kind of lends itself to like understanding why all of like Oyasumi Punpun's moments are significant, or Punpun's moments are significant, I haven't, and so I can't understand it as well. But even not understanding it as well, it would be really hard to put myself in a situation where like I now have to understand it, and because of that, it's like it's gonna be a long time before I ever understand it. I've just kind of like not so much as given up on trying to understand it, but more just understood that I have to. That'll be eventually be one day a reread, and when I reread it, I'll probably see it as much better. 14. I don't really feel like losing any shield, especially when it's easy. But back to Girl on the Shore. At least for me, it is really good. Ooh, 16. 24. What can I do? What can I do? Definitely want that. I want that. We're gonna do this. I think I could do this. Now, that's gone. Do this, and that isn't bad. I like. Oh, okay. Wow, only 2 damage. That's actually really good. That was actually a really good turn. But back. Now I gotta do this again. But back to Girl on the Shore. For me, because I think the main takeaway is a little simpler, it is easier for me to understand. But Girl on the Shore, if you haven't read it, I think I am gonna go into this one, so I'm gonna spoil it. So if you don't want to be spoiled, then don't stay here. I would say just go read it, come back, because like I think it's a book, or I think it's a story that is kind of meant to be talked about. Because like if you've decided you don't want to read it, then trigger warning. Sexual abuse, I think, because basically this girl kind of gets coerced into sucking this guy off, and it's like I think that alters how she sees love, and like how she sees romance for like the rest of her life. Because I gotta be honest, after finishing the entire story, I don't think she sees it in a good way at all. Like she kind of moves on. I don't think she moves on enough to the point where like she's in a healthy mindset. Taking a lot of damage. Ooh, that is not good. That is mega not good. Yeah, it didn't matter what I did there. But back to the point at hand. She doesn't understand it well. Or she feels that, like, at least in my viewing, that there can never be a good thing. Because one, that first guy who coerced her into something she didn't want to do messed her up. And I think that's where the main story comes from. Like, how she's dealing with these messed up feelings. And then the next part of it is how she reacts to being rejected herself. And because she goes through like the first guy not wanting her, and then when she thought the person who she probably thought it was guaranteed, to be honest here, didn't want her, I think it completely just messed her up. And now she like kind of holds everyone at arm's length, but to another point, it's like she doesn't allow herself to be vulnerable anymore, which I think is not good. But to get a little more into it, because it is kind of hard. Basically, after going through the debacle with the guy, she yaps to like one of her kind of male friends, and I think I'm dead here, by the way, but she yaps to one of her friends, and he then like spits out the like oh, well, why don't you get with me? And she's like, no, and he's disappointed. It's like, well, just don't talk to me. Like, my memory is a little vague about the beginning, but I read it like a week ago, so honestly it shouldn't be, but my memory is not great for some of these situations. So basically, like, she says no. After another encounter with the guy that coerced her into like sexual manner, she kind of doesn't decide to get with the friend. She kind of uses him, and that's where I think the interesting part comes from. It's like, in a lot of stories, it is the woman being used for her body, but I think in this one, it leans more to the side where a guy gets used for his body. And I think that was an interesting take, because she basically goes back to the guy and accepts to kind of being like a friends with benefits thing with him, but she never goes beyond that. She never goes beyond just the benefits part, but she never goes beyond that point. And like, even though she goes over to this like friend's house every single day, they only have sex and nothing else happens from there. Nothing else at all. Like, they never become it's kind of like nothing else romantically inclined really ever happens, because you learn more about the characters, and I think they become like more like friends, but they never really truly, ooh, first try, but they never truly like get to the sense where it's like, I want to date you, until she does at the end, in which at that point he's already gone through enough to say no. But basically, because they never go beyond that point of like romantic things, they just more talk about being friends. It just leads to them kind of like, it leads to this very pessimistic outlook for the guy. And like, he seems hopeful at first that like this may go somewhere, but it never does. And I think as she kind of like, because you're kind of forced, like if you're ever in that situation, you're kind of forced to know more about the person. She delves into secrets like he really doesn't want her to know. And I think at a certain point, she knows so much that he no longer cares. And because he no longer cares, you get this moment where you kind of finally see him complete what he wanted to do, and he's free. And so I kind of felt like it was kind of commendable, I think, when he turned her down, because he basically turns his entire life around. Like, he was being a NEET all day, and then he goes into like, he knows what he wants to work towards. And it actually comes back to the title, because like they find an SD card on the beach, because that's where they were talking when she was yapping about what the guy did to her, and he takes it home. He looks on it, there's a picture of a girl. And eventually, when he turns his life around, he meets the girl, and it's built up at this moment like, oh, are they going to see each other when she needs him most? No, he actually meets the girl on the shore. And like, it kind of causes him to turn his life around. You don't ever see the guy and the girl interact. I think it's kind of left up to interpretation whether he actually like talked to her, or he just like kind of assumed the mental thing of like, I have to work towards her now. I still think it's commendable that he put his best foot forward into working now. And that's the cool thing about it. And so when he turns his life around, it was more a moment of good for him rather than, oh, that sucks for her, because the girl is really the main character of it all. But that was a bad explanation of it, because there is just like so much more that goes into the story that I would implore you, go give The Girl on the Shore a read rather than just hearing me give a bad recap, because even with this recap, you would still want to read it. You would definitely still want to read it. And have I really read anything else? Not particularly. Like, not particularly anything noteworthy. Like, I read some small things. Like, there's this really good one that I read, and it was like, I want to make the losing heroine win. And that's been really good. That's just been like a fun rom-com. And like, I just get to enjoy that. Other than that, like, I haven't read it. It's not done yet, and so that's why I'm saying, like, that's why I'm being, like, wishy-washy about it. But it's definitely been good. So, yeah, I haven't really been able to read too much. But I do like talking like this more, just getting to talk about what I want to talk, rather than, like, I feel I need to talk about some philosophy topic. Because, to be honest, when I was recording that, I didn't feel all too great. Like, I really didn't want to record it, and so now that I get to yap about, like, anime and manga I like, it feels, like, much more rewarding. And like, I'm playing this game, I suck at it, that's undeniable, but I'm still having a good time. Like, even if I didn't get anywhere, I feel like I made a couple good plays that'll teach me things in the future. I think that's all I really need to learn in the Spire. Yeah. And this is kind of where I want to like where I'd much rather take my future, rather than just making it all one philosophy thing. I want to throw in humor, I want to throw in like interesting talks about like anime, games, or things I've played. And I think even with the failure that was my first recording, I think this is kind of taught me a lot more, and kind of just like, it hasn't taught me a lot more. I think I learned from the failure, like as cliche as that sounds, but I learned from it, and now I've kind of learned to just like do what I want. So that's what I'm just gonna do what I want. So I think I'm just gonna call it a day from here. Recorded about 30 minutes. I think I could chop it down into like fun and interesting thing. Actually, before I end it off, I did talk about like one kind of funny story that happened to me recently, and that's one thing I know I gotta get better at, like telling stories, because I feel like I don't remember stories enough, but I gotta go into the day like kind of thinking like content brained, kind of going in thinking like, oh, I could turn this into a story, like, and I know that can definitely like become negative after a while. Ooh, this is gonna be that's 12 damage, that's 21. Ooh, wait, I think that could do it. Perfect. See, that was a good play. But it's like something I know I have to get better at, and I know that can have like kind of bad downsides for some people. Like they look too much at content and everything becomes content to them. But because I'm not at that point yet, I think I'm still fine. Like I think it's fine to think about it that way. And so here's the story, like practicing it a little bit now. So basically that government final, I had to finish it this week. I got my psychology and my government one done, you know, big ups. Like psychology was very easy, but in this government one, we had to go there and we had to work in the school on like a day that was like off for everybody else. I had to go into the school, work for 7 hours almost straight, and then I had to go to the DMV after that to get an advanced permit. So that was But during this, we finished the main big assignment thing, which is really why we were there. And once we finish it, we realize we have to do a PowerPoint. And I feel like that's the annoying thing, because we have to show this PowerPoint to like the people we're like, how do I put it? The people we're supposed to present to are not the people, of course, the people you present to, but more you're basically, how do I say this without going on like a 5-minute long tangent about what we actually did? But basically, you made a policy to affect the government, to affect like a piece of government, and you have to present it to the people who you think would actually make an impact in that line of like, in like what you wanted to do there. And so making this, we have to follow a 6x6 rule set up by the teacher, which only allows you to put like six bullet points and then 6 words in that bullet point, and that's all you're allowed to explain, and you're supposed to explain it out loud. But because like it never really seemed like those people were coming in, so we kind of just like, I wouldn't say brushed it off, but like it kind of felt like, why are we doing this? And it was the end of the day too, after like 7 hours of work. So people were kind of getting distracted. And in the middle of this, I imported a graph, because I was basically the one doing all the graph work. And I fixed it in the actual big assignment. We had to turn it in. But I didn't realize that when I copied it over, it was the unfixed version, which has our county name, but I misspelled it as Cunty. And now I thought maybe I could just like draw a quick U, because I spelled it Cuunty. I thought maybe I could do a gray line over the top of the O, because, you know, U and O's look similar. That's how I made the mistake in the first place. But I thought I could quickly draw a line over there and it'd be like fixed, not the right color. And that's when one of my group mates like saw it. It was like, did you try and fix it? And like, dude, it was a funny moment at the time. It was very funny. But it was also like, oh, why did this happen? Too. So like everybody was, because like it's Sullivan Cunty, and they were harping on it for a while. Like I wouldn't say it was bad harping. I would say it was more like just going, like you keep adding to the joke, though they're not really close friends. But like I think it got to the point where they just kept doing it, and we realized that like, yeah, we're getting no more work done today. But like, basically, I think it kind of stayed contained within our group, but then they kind of started spreading it out a little bit. And then they kept kind of digging it into the ground. It got a little annoying at a point, but you know, honestly, it was fine. But then like they brought up that TikTok audio that's like the cunt over and over and over again. And they're like, you gotta, when we present this, when we get to this slide, you gotta do a whole dance thing. And they're like, that's how I kind of felt they were dragging it, like, because they kept like, they stayed on that bit for a while, but it was very funny. And I think it kind of catapulted into like, yeah, we're not doing anything else the rest of the day. And I think that's the funniest thing about it. It just kind of like assured me that like, Yeah, nothing else is getting done. No work is getting done. And so basically after that, all we did was sit there and just yap about the most useless stuff. It did not matter at all. And I think it was just, it would kind of showed me like, I don't consider myself a normie, but I would consider them closer to the normie kind of stature. And it kind of made me recognize that no one is a normie. Everybody has a story. And like just talking to them was just like a good time. I like that. I like that. But yeah, that was the story. I don't know how entertaining it was, but like I am trying to like create funnier stories now. And you know, going into it, I think that's one of the big things I'm gonna start working towards to fix the like, or not fix, but make the content better. And I think this was actually a pretty good talk, even with the like problem that I ran into. And so I think this was a very free My Talks Thursday. And it was kind of what I set it up to do in the first place. Practicing for streaming and just getting thoughts off my mind, which I actually got some good thoughts I wanted to get off my mind today. And it was nice. It was relaxing. If you want to see more, please like and subscribe. Of course, I am going to keep doing it. Also, uploaded the first short and I'm hoping that'll be better. Unknowingly enough, YouTube makes you do a like authentication thing. So I can't link my videos yet until I get it authenticated. And that's going to be annoying, but eventually I'll get that done. So they're linked to here and hopefully that'll be a big boost. But I'm really proud how this came out and well, peace.